Okay, so, I keep talking about this viral TikTok. Now it's over 5 million people. And there's more of these TikToks too. Like she, at first, was kind of giving people what they want. And now she's kind of like, okay, this isn't working for me. This is my channel. Or my I don't know, is it called a channel on TikTok? My platform, my whatever. And she doesn't want to spend it talking about me. But the thing is what I'm saying, like all these different people in my family are being so triggered. So it's brought up a lot of stuff. And so there's things that are coming into my head that I think are important to share because I think that this is part of everybody's journey. Everybody has like the same core things. We all feel abandoned and rejected and unheard and unloved. We all grow up with these same kind of feelings. Doesn't matter what your living situation was, you're going to have one that is a challenge to you because it's the cards that you're dealt. It's the hand that you're dealt when you are born. And, the most difficult card to get over is the one that's going to help you the most become your true self. All of the things you're dealt, they're all obstacles for you that your soul knew of coming in. It's so crazy because if you're not in this spiritual way of thinking, it's a very different attitude. Like you're born to like people on earth who are unhealed suck you out of the heavens, put you on this planet against your will to force you to make them happy and you be sad. Like I don't know, it's very different how they see things. When you come into the situation, you think like it's very difficult for a child. A child's not necessarily thinking this, but the more that we start training them and teaching them to understand that their obstacles are by their own choice, that your soul chose these obstacles because these are what you want to work on as a eternal being. And but so many people, they feel like they're forced into this, which I think also confirms that reincarnation recycle system they have going, where they put pressure on people to get them to come back. And I think that or it's just like a kind of directing them back. Oh, which by the way too, yesterday when I was saying, there was a couple things that I said. I was like, oh, I got to clarify this because when I'm seeing that other people to start coming to this channel who are going to be different than the people who have been here before, is the people who have already been here are already awake. They already know what's up. They've already started their journey, their quest for the truth. And the people who are coming, and I've seen some of these people in action, and they're just so angry and confused. And so all I'm saying is don't if somebody comes at you, don't lower down to their thing. If there's people coming onto this channel and they're attacking people, then we'll just kick them off. We'll just, I don't know, there's probably a way to block them or something. But yeah, I'm not going to let people come on and start bullying people who are here because we're all trying to learn and grow. And if somebody doesn't have that in their in their view, then they don't belong on this channel, that's for sure. So I think that I wasn't saying like, oh, just be nice, they can be as mean as they want, but as long as we're nice, that'll help them heal. No, it's unacceptable. I'm just saying that to recognize your own triggers, because there's going to be some triggering people, I think, that are going to be coming, because there's definitely going to be an influx of people looking for healing coming up real soon. And yes, I had watched the update the other day. And once you do, then the algorithm kicks in and you get them like nonstop, because I hadn't seen one in so long. But there's a whole bunch coming right now. Like I've got several on my TV. I haven't watched them, because then it's all that comes on my thing. Like I can't find anything else. It's just one update after another. And this one, there's a couple channels that are just going on to, all these other platforms, and they're getting these people's information and then they're taping it. So you're getting updates from all these different people, these certain channels. And so apparently the deal with 120 was that there was only a year, like it was a timeout for the military. Like when they took over their occupation and last year on the whole phony thing, and they went into this house that they never went to. They were at Castle Rock in California or something. If they're even there, who knows? I mean, Joe's not even a real person. So, I mean, it's a real person, but it's not the person that's into the mask. There's a person in the mask. And like I said, I think there's several. I think they hand out the mask to the retarded people. Here, you want one of these? Go out and act stupid. And I don't mean retard, I'm talking about the politicians. You're just a bunch of lamos. So, anyways, that whole thing, there is going to be, so the update. So the 120 thing, that was, it was a cutoff date. So stuff happened, yesterday apparently, but even if they're not telling us that, something happened, there was footage of the White House the night before having a bunch of explosions in all the windows, and it's empty. I don't know if it's fenced in or whatever's happening, but whatever's going on. And then supposedly, they've started enacting the QFS, and it's going in and they're looking for glitches or something. But I thought that had been going for a while. So I don't know. I just know that it is still, we're going in that direction. We're not going to go off in another direction, because we're going in this, we're headed to a new age. I mean, everything is headed in one direction. And so it's going to all fall apart. It's going to blow up. There's everything they're doing is going to collapse, because it's part of the end of this time, end of this scenario, end of this, reality that, we learned what we learned from it, and it's done for. And so, that's happening. So there is going to be a lot of people, once this, whatever's going to happen happens, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be super confused. And if the power and stuff goes down for 10 days, even if it went down for one day, it came back on, and who knows? I mean, remember when I lost my TikTok? I was getting, information, like not information on the TV, information from the other, like their messages, that TikTok was going to be gone. And it's going to be part of what's wiped clean out of this. So all of those people with their shortened attention span are going to be looking for healing, and they're going to be kind of glitching out, I think, because there's so many things that humans have to do, but you have to be so mindful to heal them. So you have to be focused on like your concentration and getting it back to calm. You have to take control of it. You have to manage it. You feel yourself like, oh, I've got to move. You got to be like, wait, no, I got to focus. It's like going to the gym for your brain. So anyways, there's stuff going on, and there will be people coming. And I just, for people who are in a more healed thing, it is walking the walk and showing people how to be. And, but anyways, I just didn't want to come across as like, yeah, we're all going to be like the better people, and they can come in here like a fucking bunch of monkeys. No. I just want this, this platform or whatever it's called, as it grows, this community of people, like-minded people. Mr. Wolf, I'm not talking about like we're all going to meet for lunch or anything. I'm just talking about like for people who are, like-minded, who are looking for information. Like lots of people have information to share. And, So, I think it has great value. I mean, that was the whole point of starting this channel, was to help build community. So, anyways, not like I'm the mayor or anything, but I just think it's important that we just be mindful of one another's feelings. And if other people come in doing that, that doesn't mean we lower down to their standard. It means we just, walk taller. And they have to figure out how to raise themselves to the occasion. And another thing too, yesterday when I was saying something about my ex or whatever, and I used labels, and it kept bothering me because I said alcoholic, rage, and I really want to get away from using labels. It really, they're too all encompassing, So somebody who used alcohol and rage to, or alcohol and misguided anger to, control their moods or their emotions, their coping skills, And there's so many people do it. This isn't like an uncommon story. The sad thing is that my story is very common, way too common in this world. And then, so for me now, my kids are so struggling over this stuff because, as far as they're concerned, like, I think it was like, you are this horrible person we hold resentment towards, and we don't want anybody else to like you. And then they've got these people liking them, and then it's this weirdest thing. I don't even know how to explain it, because you can't go in and explain where other people are coming from. So, it's just my perspective on the situation. And where I need to go with it is looking at, how do we heal? How do we, as other people, I may not be able to help some people, they may have issues with me and not want to hear what I have to say. But there's other people who are going through it, and we can help them to move through it, because it's so much of getting hung up in the past. It's holding on to these old painful times, this time that was, made you feel bad. And for some reason, people just want to stay there. They just want to hang and linger in it. They don't want to feel the feelings. But they are so consumed, so focused on the feelings, that they can't let them go, because it's about letting them go. It's about letting go of the pain that holds you back. And, it's not just pretending like it didn't happen, letting go. It is processing it. And this is one thing too, is like, for me, when somebody says, oh, blah, 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 you did this or you did that, I'm always thinking, oh, well, they took it wrong. They, if they understood my perspective and they understood where I was coming from, that would give them a different perspective. But the weird thing is when you do that all the people take it as like, oh, so you're just making excuses for yourself. No, I'm trying to have you see it so you can comprehend it in a different way. Because, yeah, I mean, especially as a mom, you're not just trying to purposely hurt people, hurt your children. You're trying to protect them from the world. But, it's just this natural development stage, and what we come in for learning and lessons, that it's a difficult relationship for most people, the parent-child. And guaranteed, whatever you go through with your parents, you're going to be shown the other way with your kids. Like, you're going to get the full spectrum of these relationships. You get the full view of the dynamic, the parent-child dynamic, and how it affects people, like, you have your perspective of how you were affected. But even for mine, like, it didn't bring anger out in me. It was more self-destructive, like, I just didn't care about myself. And, but some people, they get super angry, and everybody has their own way of dealing with things, But the whole thing is when you are holding on to this old pain, and whether you use it as anger, self-destructive, whatever, your format is that you work in, then you holding on to stuff like that is how you get physically sick. Like where you start getting cancer, where you start getting like all sorts of things, because your body's reacting, because you are holding in this energy. It's all of these painful experiences and stuff accumulate energy. So you have this energy that you're holding in, you're trying to repress it. And you're trying not to deal with your emotions about it. You're trying not to look at it because it causes you pain. You're trying to not think about it. You know, a lot of people have put it in a closet and shut the door and forgot about that it was there. And they go around with this shitty feeling or anxiety or whatever it is. And all these unresolved issues and this repressed pain will come out in physical ailments. So you'll start having physical symptoms. And, you know, and it's all over the place. I mean, people die over, you know, holding in pain. And so, you know, it's important to begin to release the pain. But so how do you release it without it being, because people think like, oh, well, if I release it, then I'm just, you know, pretending like it didn't happen. It's like, it's not existent or something. And it's not like that. Because when I went through mine, and this is the thing why it's called the dark night, because like I've seen with some people who think like, oh, I'm all healed, I'm feeling good. But then the triggers are just like boom, 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 boom. If you're being triggered, those are yourself showing you like, oh, pay attention, heal this, heal this, heal this. And, but the way we're taught is to not look at it that way. We're taught as we're triggered. You just made me mad. You just did this to me. You did that. You know, so we don't take ownership of this. We don't empower ourselves to understand that we have control over our emotions, over our feelings. And so the dark night is called the dark night because it's things that you don't see about yourself. It's your shadow self. It's the self that is hidden. It lurks back in the back. And other people may see it, but you don't see it. You don't want to see it. You don't want to deal with it. And so it's your shadow self. Well, all of these things that are happening is so your shadow self can come out of the shadows so you can see it. So you can be like, know what you're dealing with, know who you're dealing with. So your shadow self has to come out, you know. And you can do all those little things. You can have them sit down on the couch. You can shut your eyes, meditate, have your shadow self come out and sit on the couch. It's the same kind of work that you would do as your inner child. Because your inner child, hold on. Really gotta quit smoking so much. It's not like I really smoke a pack a day. It's like 2 joints, you know, a couple of hits. And you know, the whole thing is so nutty too, is like all these plants that were here to help us. And you know, the government was like, no, that's bad, that's criminal. Like we've got some stuff we're mixing up here. You use that, we'll charge you a lot, but you know, we got to you got to stay away from the plants. The plants are gonna, you know, that's bad news. It's like, oh my god, how did we get into this where we will believe this kind of nonsense? It's just, it becomes just silly. It's just so silly. So anyways, when you get to this point of you know, your shadow self, it's because your what's that called, your younger child, your younger self or something, that's really just your soul. That's just your authentic self before it started feeling all of the damages in this current life, because it comes into this life already carrying damage. You come into this life not as a baby, you come in a baby's body, but you're a well-developed soul already. You've already gone through some shit. You've got some repressed stuff that you're carrying from life to life to life. You come back in to resolve and solve. Then you come in and you say, hey, deal me this hand because this is some shit I want to get over. I need to move past this. So you ask for these hands. You ask for these traumas because you are wanting to grow. You're wanting to develop yourself as a soul. So, but here in this world that we've got going, it is, oh, poor you. You're such a victim. Oh, God. You know, we're coming at it backward. We're not coming from a place of power, from a place like helping one another grow. We're coming in from this victim. Oh, poor you. Oh, they're so bad. They're evil. You know, if they wouldn't be so evil, then you would be so fine. And it's so backward, man. So, anyways, when you know, you can have your shadow self, sit down on the couch, go into meditation, you know, and deal with it and start seeing the things about yourself that you don't want to look at. And so when you start having them come up, and they come up real easy, triggers show you, you know, when your buttons are pushed right there, it's one is being highlighted to you. As soon as your button is pushed, you know, most people are just reactive and just bite back. Somebody push my buttons, you know, I'm going all in. I'll friggin' tear them down. You know, and that's what we have going all the time, these battles with people. And it's battling ourselves, essentially. So it's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. And and time is valuable. You know, when you're living a life, time is valuable. We're going to sit and waste it trying to fight with somebody. Because what I've learned 100% is it doesn't matter what I do. I can go in, I can redeem myself. I can apologize. I can, you know, drive you to every appointment. I could do everything possible to try and get you to feel loved. But if you don't feel love, you're not going to feel it. You're not going to see it. You're not even going to see it at all. It's so nutty. Like, it is the weirdest thing when somebody has a lot of resentment and anger and hatefulness towards you. It doesn't matter what you do. They don't see it. It's weird. It's really weird. So open yourself up to seeing, like, somebody's there. They're trying to make things right with me. You know, you got to open yourself up to that. And, you know, and not everybody's parents or not everybody's siblings or not everybody's friends are going to step up. Not everybody is in that place. And you can't hold resentment towards somebody who's not. You got to let it go, you know, and let every soul get to their place when they are going to get to it, because it's all very strategic and mapped out for how they're going to discover themselves. And so when the stuff comes up, these triggers, you know, it is more about sitting on it, sitting with the, this is so, it's driving me crazy, sorry. I feel like I'm way down here like a little tiny kid. So, you know, you got to sit with sit with the pain, or sit, my stomach's growling like crazy. Sit with the pain, or sit with the thoughts, sit with the experience, you know, and question yourself. Go into it and ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? What is it? What is it that is, why am I being triggered by this? Why are my buttons pushed by this? And that is your opportunity to go in and self-discover, you know, and try and understand yourself and what things need to heal. Because the things you need to heal aren't just from this life. They're from multiple lives. And, you know, and a lot of people just are really caught up in the, you know, blame game in this, you know, and is this current parent. But so many people just don't even realize that how many lives they've lived to get to the place where they are. So you're carrying a lot of trauma through life after life. And most of these lives in 3-dimensional are very traumatic. They're very hard. They're very difficult. And it's a lot to get over. And you carry this pain from life after life after life. It doesn't go away. It's part of your structure. It's part of who you are. It's your soul that you are taking, you know, carries these imprints of these lives. And so when you are, being triggered in this one, it is a blessing to be able to purge that stuff out. And when you are purging it out, and you're not focused on them being the bad guy and you're just looking at yourself, then you can start seeing what it is that you are holding in that is causing these emotional responses to people. Because when you go in and you heal those things, so for healing it, you think like it's like a big thing, like, oh, I gotta heal this, my dad came in and raped me, or every year, my mom shut the bedroom door for him, or whatever, people have got all sorts of tragic things that have happened to them. And, and you've got all this pain and suffering and resentment and anger and, oh, my life could have been so much better if this wouldn't happen, if that wouldn't happen. I could have a good life if it weren't for this. And so when you go in to these painful times and you are looking at them, it's just this, like, processing them. It's like looking at him and letting him go, and just, it's like you're looking at it now as an observer. So you're not in there, you're not feeling how painful it was. So you can go in and you can process it, and you might need to go in and you see yourself, and maybe you need to go in and love yourself and bring yourself forward and do the inner child work, and remind yourself that you were just a kid and you did your best, and whatever the different things are, you have to, like, walk yourself through it, talk yourself through it. Like, what would you say to somebody else who was sitting there suffering? Would you say, oh, just focus on that, spend the rest of your life suffering, just feel bad for yourself for your whole life? It's a waste of your life, and don't end up going to your life review and then looking at it and going, oh my God, I just sat there in my pain my whole for friggin' 10 years, 20 years, when all I had to do was release it, and I could have gone on and been happier. And most of us have just complex pain. We have multiple painful situations because we've never been taught how to really work through our pain and what this life is all about. And then on top of it, we have the fear that this is it. This is your only one. If you don't do it right, you're going to hell. But once people realize, hey, all this is to get me out of hell. My healing gets me out of hell. So if I focus on me and I heal and I forgive and I move forward, I pull myself out of hell, because this is hell. Being in this emotional stuck, sand. What is that stuff called? Quicksand. That is sucking you down. The pain is pulling you into the quicksand. So when you go in and you look at these things, and then plus, you'll look at things that have happened to you. And you have to go in and resolve these feelings. You have to go in and forgive these people. You have to, whatever the point may be. I can't tell each person, because everybody's demons are different. Everybody's pain and suffering and traumas are different. And some people had people that were really, like psychopaths, that were really so cut off from their soul that they, were like sociopaths or antisocial behavior. Like, they had no compassion for you or how you felt and stuff. I mean, that's a real thing. And that doesn't mean that's who you are. See, you could be the most compassionate, loving person, and you went through this pain and suffering and trauma, and then it is, I almost feel like you are releasing something that you shouldn't release, but really you should release it. You got to release it. You got to let it go and understand, it was like, out of all of your lives, all of the lives that you go and live, this is like a grain of sand. All of your lives could fill a beach with sand in this one grain. So are you going to just focus on this one grain? Are you going to learn see things clearly? And it could be, to understand how things affect people. And it could be you're wrapping up cycles from other experiences that you were the bad guy. And now you're experiencing what you did to someone else. Now you're feeling it from the other side. And that's all it is just to show you the other side. But we get all caught up in it. We get all caught up in, this is it, this is life, and this is, this is who raised me, and my life, it just sucks, and all this stuff, then we dramatize it, because it keeps us feeling like shit. And so when you get the triggers and you go in and you look at yourself in a deeper way, and then, that leads to you having to look at the sides of yourself that you try and hide, the parts of you that are stupid, the parts of you that you're ashamed of, the parts of you that you felt put down. And that's how people get in this trap of like, well, if I please everybody, then everybody will like me. I just got to please these people. If I do this, I'll please them. Then they'll like me, and then everything will be okay. But then you start, trying to do things that don't align with you. You try and please others and you try and be something you're not. And so then that just complicates your feelings about yourself. This more of like, disgust with yourself. And so there's a lot of things when you go in and look at your shadow self and you have to see like, oh my God, why did I try and do that and make this person happy? They weren't doing it. Like, what in me? Why was I so willing to give myself up like that? And that's where you start finding your healing. That's when you start accepting yourself. Because once you start accepting yourself and you start just going in and loving yourself, yeah, I may have been a complete idiot. I may have been a complete failure. Maybe I'm the worst mom in the world because I was just so wrapped up in my own pain that I couldn't be there for other people. That is, I've got to just face that for myself. And but that's what we all have to do, is face these sides of ourselves and then release them. Be like, okay, well, that's where I was at. That's the only thing I knew. That's the only thing I knew how to be. And so I was doing my best. So I got to just release that. Because once you release it and you start letting go, I'm telling you, you start feeling lighter. You start feeling your vibration changes. You will literally feel this kundalini thing, this rise of energy through your body. Your heart chakra will start going crazy. Sometimes it'll feel like you're having an anxiety attack. It starts going crazy. And that is like your soul location too. So I think, your soul is very charged up. I told you it's like a motherboard coming on or something as you are contacting, getting in touch with your soul. And then you start seeing like how much communication is really going on. It really changes this whole world, this whole state of being. It changes it. You're not just here living this life. It is completely different. And it's not something that I even, maybe I'll, right now I know I'm supposed to talk about this, but, I can try and see if they can make it where I can understand it more, how to explain it, how different it is. But it is very much like this. The only thing I can think of to call it is like where people say it goes from 3D to 5D. It is your whole way of being, your whole way of experiencing changes. You see life differently, and it's better. You feel better, You feel more complete. You feel more tuned into yourself. When you go out and you love yourself, you don't need others to love you. You don't need to conform and be different so that these people will love you, because you're going out, you love yourself. If they don't see your value, that's okay. It doesn't matter. They've got their own stuff to work on. Maybe they haven't found their own value. So they can't focus and be like, hey, but one thing I've seen for sure on this TikTok thing with these people's comments, like you can go in, I shared the TikTok, you can go in and look for the comments for yourself and you take it the way you want to take it. But to me, we've got a lot of people out there who are repressed and unhealed. And, I'm telling you, if somebody coming out of their kitchen dancing makes people feel free, a lot of people feel repressed. A lot of people are not being their true selves and not being their authentic selves. And they feel, this world can feel dangerous and it's hard to be vulnerable, especially when you're coming from this cancel culture where, if you don't please me, I'm going to humiliate you and make you look stupid. And that is each of us. Each of us has to change that way of being, Don't turn around and do that to somebody. It's a completely like releasing, like taking your hands off of everything, releasing it and coming into yourself. And, I don't feel the same pain that I used to do. If somebody was mad at me or upset with me, I would do everything I could, move across the state, move in, come and do everything I could to redeem myself. But that's what I've learned is your healing doesn't come from somebody else. Your healing comes from you, and it's a good damn thing that it does, because it's something that you need to own. It's empowering yourself. To heal yourself is empowering yourself, and it shouldn't come from somebody else. It should come from you because it's an accomplishment when you do it, because it is a mastery of yourself. It's an understanding of your own emotion. It's an understanding of your own complicated existence, and choosing to be happy, choosing to move forward, choosing to let go of things, choosing to forgive. It's a way that you choose to live in your heart, and it changes how you see the world. So all I can do is keep putting the information out there. Nobody can force somebody to heal. You can just share the information of how it has helped you, and what I've had to do to heal. And I had a lot of things, and I was very upset for a long time. I would bitch and whine and complain when, my mom was a fucking teenager. She was 16 when she had me. She turned 17 right after I was born, but still she was a child. And my dad was, my dad was my dad. And he had a lot of stuff. And, and I was angry and upset. And, but then when you stop and you look at it, it's like, she was 16. How could she be a good parent for me? Like, why am I sitting here holding on to this? Like, oh, you didn't love me enough. My life is over. You didn't love me enough. And it's like, Jesus Christ, you're 16. You didn't even love yourself. You're pregnant in high school, and you are trying to raise children, and you are still a child. You just want toys to play with. You just want dolls. And so, sitting back there and holding on to that resentment for your whole life. And so many people do. So many people die. I mean, that's where you get these bitter old people. Get off my lawn. Ah! They're just holding on to pain. And one thing is when you get older, if you haven't fixed some of this stuff, a lot of people, when they get older, it just gets bigger. They haven't resolved things. They haven't dealt with things, and their families, and they get bitter and they get angry, and there's just so much division and so much toxic behavior that we have going. And those things are things we have to release, because it is moving out of this 3D into a 5D. And this toxic behaviors and these coping skills that we've developed, like things were hard. So what did I do? I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go make some money. And then I'm going to go spend it. La. That's not good to do that. That's just a coping mechanism, not dealing with things. And we all have our own. I mean, Jesus Christ, food is used for a coping mechanism. Going to the gym is used. Tinder is used. Drugs, alcohol, everything we can use to distract ourselves from our own pain. And it just builds our pain up more and more and more. So, 2020 was meant to give us clear vision and to give us time to go in and work on our pain. And there's still been so much distraction and so much fear mongering that they have pushed. And for the souls that haven't, come out of this hypnosis yet, that they are, they're just trapped in this fear and pain and all of this stuff. So, but that is not, it's not going to stay this way. This is just a transition, and it's all going to be changing. We're going to have everybody, and not everybody's going to be in the same place at the same time, obviously, because there's a lot of people who've been working on their healing for this whole time. And so, but there's a lot of people who haven't been working on it at all and don't even know what's coming. They just know that they're full of pain, and they're full of anger, and so much self-loathing. You don't give up who you are and try and change who you are to please others unless you have self-loathing. You don't promote. If you love yourself, then you would promote yourself. If you don't, then you conform. Like, well, I'm not very good. I'm kind of a shitty person. So maybe if I'm the person they want me to be, I'll be a better person. So we let other people guide us as to how we need to behave. And then we end up feeling sad and defeated, because our soul is telling us, like, no, don't go and please them. Please you. I'm in here. I'm trying to talk to you. I'm trying to give you guidance. I'm trying to help you heal. You know, that's the mind, body, soul. It's the going into yourself. It is that what is that word? It's a union with self, and it is where you become your own best friend. And you know, in a place where there is no love out there, you learn how to love yourself. And once you learn how to love yourself and accept yourself and truly love yourself, then you have no problem loving others. To me, the whole thing is figuring out, like, at what point when people are being toxic to you do you just walk away, you know? And that has been, you know, something that I've been on my path to learn for a long, long time. So it's part of how I look at things. We all have different things that we look at. And when we have things that come up to us for us to look at, that is what our soul is trying to show us, that we're trying to heal, what we're trying to understand, concepts, to just, and a lot of it is just putting tools in your toolbox. You may not wrap it all up. Well, a lot of cycles are being wrapped up right now, but you may not understand all your lessons in this life. You may not understand everything, but there will be a point where you will, and you will see the purpose to what you've gone through here. And you will see it as, you know, of a gift. I mean, all of the things that I went through that I, you know, felt so forsaken by life and, you know, the universe or God or whatever, then when you heal it, all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, it was a gift. It was an absolute gift what I went through. And I couldn't even recognize what a gift it was. I was so caught up in my pain and suffering. But once you heal it, you'll see it's a freaking gift. And anyways, that's 40 something minutes. I might be back though, but that stuff is just when I see it happening around me, just people just holding on to the past, holding on to this old pain, you can stay there forever. It's not gonna change until you move out of it. It's gonna keep you trapped there. You have to want more for yourself, and you have to, you know, guide your ship out of that storm. You know, you have to be your own captain, you know? So be your captain. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.